Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Reading Room. My name's Mark Reed, and today we are asking the eternal question: is God the a-hole? The question is out there. You can make your own decision. You can talk. You can chat. You can vote. You can absolutely decide for yourself whether God is the a-hole. I will leave it in your presumably expert hands. Presumably. But today we are going to do Genesis 27 and 28. It's yeah, a little bit up in the air here. But let's grab the first one. Let's see. There we go. And I hope you're doing well. Hello, Ember. How are you doing? Ember is in the house. Binge Thinker has dropped on in. Hi, Binge Thinker. Long time no see, I think. I can't remember seeing you around for a little bit, but that's okay. Welcome. All good. All good. So get your Bible ready. We're going to be going into Genesis 27. Now, usually I do a sort of like my favorite comment from the last week. I haven't really got one. It's a sec. I will check my comments and see if I can find. I think I had one the other day that made me giggle because it was just so wild, so incredibly wild. Give me 1 second. I'll check that out. I really should have been prepared beforehand. Oh, hello, KR Jung. KR Jung. Jung. Is that Young or Jung or Jung? I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. I cannot I cannot I don't know. All right, let's find, where was that comment? Oh, they might have like they might have rescinded their comment, maybe. Maybe. Oh, there's one. There's one that I do like. So give me 1 second. Yes. Let's grab that. I do like this one. This is actually hilarious because somebody absolutely went crazy over one of my videos, and I did like it. Where is it? There we go. So my comment of the week is this one here, which is tyrants. Hang on. Tyrants, atheist. And I responded, if you don't treat people with respect, you won't get any. So he did this. There was an even better comment, actually, that he sort of was calling me Mao and Stalin, all this kind of, like, just losing his crap. And I found it hilarious. I think he's just rescinded it because, or retracted it, which I should have grabbed a screen grab at the time, because this guy lost his mind over just 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 me like commenting on Joe Kirby, which I do often, frequently. I don't know what the problem was, but they were just losing their crap. Oh, it wasn't even that witty a retort. It was more the funny thing, Jinx, and good to see you, Jinx. The funny thing was sort of the amazing way that he lost his crap to begin with. Like. Yeah, just losing your crap because somebody sort of suggested that your imaginary friend doesn't exist is just weird to me. It's so strange. I mean, we've got plenty of people saying, "Hey, atheists are this, that, and the other." I don't feel the need to write like, "Oh, you're a tyrant" in the internet. Oh, someone disagrees with me on the internet. Better lose my crap and write a paragraph about it. Yeah, I don't feel the inclination. But I do apologize. I should have organized that earlier, but that's okay. But we're going to Genesis 27 Chairman Mark. Oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. It's kind of weird that um people think that. I really have I don't think communism's a good system. I think it's really good in theory, but it never works in practice. It doesn't work. But we're going to Genesis 27, and of course the Reddit post. So what we're doing here is basically I have made these Reddit posts for the chapters of the Bible, and we're going to be going through and um, we're going to be going through and sort of evaluating as if they were a Reddit post on Am I the Arsehole, which is basically people just deciding whether somebody did something that's morally right, morally wrong, or whatever. And I think that the takeaway from these that we've had so far is that if the character of Yahweh was in modern society, he would be like the biggest dick you've ever known. Like, the stuff that he does is terrible, just terrible. But, and I totally get it. People say, oh, you can't, Christians say that you can't judge, the Lord like you can a human. Sure, sure. But this is just a hypothetical. If the person, the character of God was a human, what would that human be? Would that human be a complete prick? So far, the answer is pretty much yeah. So again, I am Yahweh, posting for the millionth time. Yeah, I feel like every time it's I am Yahweh, for sure. For sure, why not? Am I the arsehole for letting a son deceive his father to steal a breast blessing from his brother? So, long story short, my best friend Isaac was old and losing his sight. It happens. We all get old. Our facilities are going to give out. It happens. He favoured his older son, Esau, while Rebecca, which was his wife, and his cousin as well. Yeah, Rebecca was both his wife and his cousin. That's so. Look, I know that they didn't know about genetics. I know they didn't know about inbreeding, but seriously, this family has got to stop keeping it in the family. They've got to somehow get outside of their own gene pool. Like, seriously. While Rebecca favored the younger, Jacob. I had already told Rebecca before the twins were born that the older would serve the younger, but that information was not really relayed to Isaac, even though it would affect his entire family. As Isaac felt his life nearing its end, well, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I don't know. Okay, he can tell when his time is up. That's interesting. He decided to give his main blessing to Esau. He told Esau to go hunting, prepare a meal, and then he would bless him. Rebecca overheard this and immediately acted. She instructed Jacob to bring her goats so she could prepare food that would mimic what Isaac expected. She then dressed Jacob in Esau's clothing and covered his arms with goat skins to imitate Esau's hairiness. Yes, so apparently Esau was the hairy one and Jacob was smooth-skinned kind of thing. So some subterfuge would be required. Jacob hesitated, but not for any moral reason, but because he was worried about being caught and cursed instead. Rebecca told him that the curse would fall on her and pushed Jacob to steal his brother's blessing. Can you steal a blessing? Like, does a blessing work if it's in the name of like, if you're giving it to the wrong person? Like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Like, it's so weird that it's like, well, I'm going to bless you, this person, and if they're the wrong person, you can't take it back. You have to, like, if you go, well, I was tricked, but I can't take a blessing back. This blessing has a no returns policy. I can I retract my blessing? No. As soon as you utter it aloud, like, what are we talking about here? It's so weird. Isaac questioned it multiple times, but Jacob lied and said he was his older brother. Jacob eventually convinced his father, who relied on touching Jacob's hair-covered arms, that he was the older brother. Shortly after, Esau returned and asked for his father's blessing, but Isaac said he already gave it to Jacob. Like I said, you can't say, hey, that blessing is disqualified due to deception and lying. Apparently not, which is weird. He wept, begged for a blessing, and received one, but it wasn't the same kind of blessing and involved serving his brother. Esau was so angry that he began to plan to kill Jacob once their father died. I don't look. I mean, what are you supposed to do with this? If, like, it's really weird that at times in this story it's like, well, if the Lord decrees it, that's how it would be so. And at other times they're like, no, that I want my thing regardless of what the Lord wants. It's so weird. It's so strange. It's really strange. Hey, One by Land, how you doing? Rebecca responded by sending Jacob away to her family under the pretext of finding a wife, but really to protect him from Esau's anger. She also sent him away because she seemed to really hate Hittite women and did not want Jacob marrying one, which did seem a little racist. Yeah, this is actually in the Bible. I do want to point this out because this is kind of wild, right? This is kind of wild. I don't know. It's kind of weird. For a start, let's compare the two blessings, right? So this is the blessing that Jacob got. Ah, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field. Okay, that's a little weird. That's a little weird. May God give you heaven's dew and earth's riches, an abundance of grain and new wine. May nations serve you and peoples bow down to you. Be Lord over your brothers, and may the sons of your mother bow down to you. May those who curse you be cursed, and those who bless you be blessed. Okay, so here's the thing, right? Like, so he's obviously giving a blessing that's going to be prophecy for the future. So does Isaac determine the future of Jacob, right? He obviously doesn't. This is supposed to be relayed of what the Lord wants through him. Right? Like, so you know, obviously that's the you know, God is going to make him be Lord over his brothers, and the sons of your mother will bow down to you, kind of thing. You know, that's the kind of thing that a God will pass on to his, you know, faithful servant or whatever. So obviously he's just passing it on. And then Esau gets angry, and this is the blessing for Esau. His father answered him, your dwelling will be away from the earth's richness, away from the dew of heaven above. You will live by the sword, and you will serve your brother. But when you grow restless, you will throw his yoke from off your neck. Okay. You know what they say about people that live by the sword? They die by the sword. Uh-huh. So yeah, I don't, you know, this is the kind of blessing. I mean, with blessings like that, you don't need curses, am I right? And then down the bottom, then look, this is the part I want to point out. And then Rebecca said to Isaac, I'm disgusted with living because of these Hittite women. If Jacob takes a wife from among the women of this land, from the Hittite women like these, my life will not be worth living. I mean, what? What? Okay. just casual racism in the Bible, but hey, okay, okay, sure, sure. Critics argue that if the outcome was already established, I could have brought it about without manipulation. Right, like why not just tell Isaac, hey, it's Jacob that you're going to give your main blessing to. Be okay with this, for I am the Lord. And then Jacob wouldn't have to lie. Esau wouldn't be angry. And okay, maybe when we see in the next one, maybe there was a reason for that. Others say that allowing deception makes me look like I endorsed it, even if I didn't directly command it. People have asked why I allowed Jacob to deceive his father, leading to strife between the family, but I chose not to involve myself in the family strife. But he did involve himself in telling Rebecca, who instigated this entire deception, that the blessing would fall upon the son. So I think that in a way that the God sort of tacitly, or not explicitly but tacitly, endorsed this. They set up the circumstances. So they told Rebecca. Rebecca overheard it and then tricked. And this is the line of Jacob had already got the blessing as well. If you remember last week, he'd already basically extorted Esau's birthright from him. If you remember, Esau came in from the field where he was working, and he was starving, apparently, that he was going to die without food. And Jacob said, oh, well, I'll feed you, but you've got to give me your birthright. So apparently this had already been settled. So, I don't understand why this whole thing needs to happen. Because if Esau just goes and says, well, yeah, I sold him my birthright, they didn't have to trick Isaac at all. I don't know why. People have asked why I allowed Jacob to deceive his father, leading to strife between the family, but I chose not to involve myself in the family strife. Oh, yeah. Am I the arsehole for allowing this to happen? Edit. No, I don't know why Isaac and Rebecca had a problem with Hittite woman. Stop asking me. I wonder why. It just seems to be more of that just general tribalism. But I will note that Esau married Hittite women. It seems to be Rebecca that had the massive, massive problem with it. Maybe Isaac was less racist, but still a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. Really, you should judge a woman on the content of their character, not whether they're Hittite or not. Yeah, but that is Genesis 27. And what do you think? Love to know your thoughts. I will get the poll going so you can vote on whether God's the arsehole for this one. I mean, I really think that God kind of set this up from the get-go, because he knew that Rebecca, when promising the birthright, she would act for her favorite, for Jacob. And it does seem like if he didn't want Jacob to have the birthright and have the blessing, he would have stopped it. He's stopped all kinds of things. He's prevented people from going to Egypt. He's stepped in when things are going wrong. He doesn't seem to have a problem with this. So I do think that he set this all in motion. Not just from a, hey, God created everything, but also from a whispering in a mother's ear that her favorite son would inherit the kingdom. I think that is sort of manipulation to set somebody up to do something that's quite immoral. I think that the God did know what they were doing according to the story. I think they knew that Rebecca would try to steal it. I absolutely think that is true. Absolutely. Was God right for allowing Jacob to steal Esau's blessing? But it's very strange. It's very strange that the Bible is sort of endorsing um, manipulation, trickery, lying to your father. The poll is available down the bottom. I know they've changed the format a little. It will be down the bottom now instead of, up front in your face. So please feel free to vote on that. But it's very odd that the Bible sort of, hey, this is completely and utterly how the ancestors of this tribe carry on. I'll go through the comments and see if we've got any cool ones. Chairman Mark, absolutely. Welcome to my communist regime of YouTube. Yes, yes. Picked a better color than red. Look, Jinx, I got to admit, I am fashionably challenged. I never know what colors to wear, so I just go with black because it kind of goes with everything, blacks and grays and stuff. So I just go with that because I can't do fashion. I'm so unfashionable. One by land, so good to see you. God was such an a-hole he would probably post an AI of himself as Jesus. Yeah, the Christians are mad about that, like really mad about that. I don't especially know why he did it, except maybe to stroke his own ego, and maybe it's a big distraction from how horribly the war is going, which is a distraction from how horrible the Epstein files is, which I think it's sort of getting several layers deep at this point. But yeah, people are really mad about that. And they're asking him to apologize. And I don't think Trump is capable of doing that. I really don't think he's capable. He's such a malignant narcissist that he wouldn't ever apologize for that kind of thing. But yeah, it is a dumb move when most of his followers are Christian. It's very, very strange. And then claim he looked like a doctor when he called on it. Yeah. Hippocrates is whirling in his grave. Yeah, Hippocrates. Yes, yeah. Like if you are so if you are a Christian and you cannot tell that figure is Jesus, then you need to be removed from office immediately because you have lost your damn mind, quite frankly. If you can't, if you think that is a doctor, then you've lost your mind. You've lost your mind. I don't know what's wrong with you. Let's find an image of it. So if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, let's find it. There's a nice big picture. So it was after his beef with the Pope, basically, because he got into a beef with the Pope because the Pope said his war was immoral, basically. It was a immoral war kind of thing. It wasn't good. So yeah, I think that the Pope weighed in and Trump went, well, quite frankly, nuts. But I think he's underestimated just how many Catholics are in America. So this is the photo that we're all sort of arguing about. I thought that Jon Stewart, he did a sort of an opening, and he thought it was him, and it's like, yeah, it does look a little bit like him, actually. But yeah, if you think that's a doctor, you do not hold office because you have lost your mind. That is Doctor what? Doctor Sleep? I don't know what kind of doctor that would be. This is so bad. And the Catholics are really mad. Now, I don't really care about the Catholics, but it's kind of this, well, now he's trolling you don't like it. It was fine when he was trolling everybody else, right? It's when he's trolling you that you don't like it. And I'm so infirm I couldn't give a better blessing. Well, apparently neither could Isaac. Apparently he only had one good blessing in him. Only one good blessing. Dr. Jesus, totally normal job at local hospitals. You know what? I would be willing to bet that there's a Dr. Jesus around somewhere, like Dr. Jesus. After spreading bovine waste-based fertilizers, ooh, I'm not sure what that's in relation to. Yeah. I used to wear mostly grey. Now I love colours. Can't imagine why. I can probably imagine why. I can probably imagine why. I get you're joking. I get you're joking. Oh, hello, Skeptic Philosophy. Hey, Jess. There you are. How you doing? So good to see you. Jess. Skeptic Philosophy. Many people would not say the Bible encouraging making stuff up isn't strange at all. It's pretty standard for that book. Yeah, but I wonder... So what I wonder is, how did the mythology work of all this, right? Because it seems like this weird situation where, I mean, it's obviously casting Rebecca as the villain, right? Like, it wasn't Jacob that stole his, birthright, stole his blessing. It was Rebecca's fault. But in the previous paragraphs, the previous sort of chapters of the of Genesis, like Jacob quite clearly extorted his brother's misfortune of being hungry, like withheld food in order to compel him to give up his birthright. He basically said, well, I'm not going to feed you if you don't give me your birth. Like, so even though this chapter colors Rebecca as the main villain, it's obvious that Jacob did it before. So I wonder if this was sort of a retcon. He knew exactly what he was doing. Yeah, Lindsay, good to see you. Welcome. And he did know exactly what he was doing. It's just, I don't think it's going to endear anybody to him, except for maybe his most fervent supporters. Yes, the Jon Stewart, that was hilarious. That was absolute. Look, Jon Stewart, I won't lie. I really like Jon Stewart. His sense of comic timing is amazing. He seems to be just getting better and better and better with age. His latest stuff has been incredible. I don't know. But Jon Stewart has been aging like fine wine. Absolutely aging like fine wine. Some people call him the Mark Twain of our generation. I would absolutely agree. He's amazing guy. I really think just incredible. Maybe that's the med bed. Maybe. Like, I mean, Trump put out a post about med beds. They're not a real thing. Look, one of the saddest things I found, because I have to go through for my Friday or Thursday night episode looking at fundamentalist stuff, looking at really weird clips to try and find something that I can use for a segment. And one of the saddest things I came across was a guy sort of saying, oh, I've got all of these health problems. Maybe I can find a med bed. And it's just like, oh my guy. Oh dear. Like, it was so sad. It was like somebody actually believing that med beds were out there being held, it's so bad. That is Dr. D. Dr. D. Goes been to Walter Reed Medical Center so much for a brain test, you'd think he knows what doctors look like. Oh, he absolutely does. So, I mean, there's really two possibilities. That he's so far gone he doesn't know what a doctor looks like. So, I mean, I don't know how he could think that. Or number two, he's just lying, which I would be, I'd think it'd be lying. When Isaac said the lad smelled of the field. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, no, he basically smelled like horse apples. Yes, he smelled like crap in the field. Yeah. Probably. I mean, that's the usual smell you get when working the field. I getcha. hey, he could have been just doing crops, but it does say that sort of Esau liked the outdoors and hunting kind of thing. So maybe, maybe, maybe. But this really turned into Trump, though. Look, I know Trump would be one to steal his brother's blessing. I'll tell you that right now. Hmm. But what I don't get in this, is why this blessing is sort of a, well, once you've given it, you can't take it back, even if it's procured by deception, and you can't bless your other brother the same. It seems like the blessing is what God wants and not what Isaac wants. So if that's the case, why is Esau mad? Why is he angry? I don't know. I don't know. It'd probably take a smarter person than me to work out exactly what the problem is here and what happened. Because something happened here. Like, I think all of these stories are sort of, maybe it is a retcon of why the younger brother, who usually doesn't inherit, right? The younger brother is usually not the one to inherit most of the property of the family kind of thing. Maybe it's an explanation of why the younger brother is more successful than the older one. And that's, maybe that they just happened to be more successful. And then they went back and wrote that it was like, well, Jacob took the blessing that was supposed to be his brother's, and that explains it. Like, a lot of their explanations behind things was, oh, the father gives the blessing to the oldest son, and then he carries on his father's legacy. Maybe it is just a retcon. Like, how do we explain that the older brother, his family was less successful and ended up serving the younger? Well, if you think about it rationally, it could just be dumb luck. It could just be that the younger brother was more adept. It could be that the younger brother was pulling the old sister wife scam and the older one wasn't. We don't know. But, in a way to explain it, I think they just made this up, that, oh, Jacob, he took the blessing that was meant for his brother, so he ended up the most, that kind of stuff. But apparently, we've got the vote in, and the vote is that God is the arsehole. I kind of lean towards, everybody sucks. I kind of lean towards everybody sucks, to be honest with you, just because, Rebecca sort of instigated the whole deception. Jacob went along with it. Isaac couldn't bless the older son the same. He apparently only has the power in him for one good blessing, and then he peters out. And Esau got so mad he wants to kill his brother over something that is clearly ordained by God. And Rebecca, most of all, why the hell didn't she tell them that, hey, God relayed to me that the older brother would serve the younger? That was relayed to me. So that is set in stone. Obviously, if God relays it to you, it can't be changed. So I don't understand. But that's maybe I'm not meant to. Maybe it's supposed to be that God works in mysterious ways things, that's a lot of this is so mysterious. It is so damn mysterious. And next we're going on to Genesis 28. Well, we got through that one really fast, guys. That was really fast. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm getting better at these. I'm not going to do a poll on that because I know how you'll all vote. I'm certainly not getting better at these. Definitely not. So Genesis 28. So turn the page in your Bible. I'll turn the page in mine. Hold it. I've got it online. So. Yep. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Was I wrong? And yes, I am Yahweh again. the deity with all the questions about whether his moral character. Was I wrong for promising land to a friend in a dream, but only after he had to run away because of his own deception? So the son of my best friend, Jacob, had just deceived his father. Oh, sorry, I wrote that poorly. It's the son of the son Jacob. So Jacob was the son of my best friend, and he had just deceived his father and taken his brother's blessing. So I really did word that badly because it suggests that the son of my best friend and the best friend is Jacob. No, the best friend was Isaac. The best friend was Isaac. Just keep that in mind. That was very poorly phrased. I do apologize. I do apologize. How dare I? You know what's made me laugh recently? You know what's made me laugh? Iran, the Muslim theocracy of Iran, correcting the spelling of the President of the United States. I don't know why that makes me laugh. It just makes me laugh. Because every time he refers to the Strait of Hormuz, he spells it Straight. And that's not how you spell straight when referring to a body of water that flows between two sections of land. That's not how you spell straight. Straight, like it's got no GH in it. Like it's actually hilarious to see. I never thought I would see the day that a Muslim theocracy corrects the spelling of the President of the United States, but apparently we're living in this timeline. Apparently that's the timeline that we're rocking around in. Apparently. I don't know why, but apparently. Now, let's see. Genesis 28. Yes. His brother Esau was so angry that he wanted to kill him, so Jacob was sent away, both to protect him and find a wife from his extended family. And you might say, oh, from your extended family, like the friends of the family? No, we'll get to that next week. No. He was told to seek out his uncle Laban and seek a wife in the lands of his ancestors. Yeah, and that the Bible is very particular in the reason why he has to go out to the lands of his ancestors and not, like, find a wife from there. Because Esau found out that his father had told Jacob not to marry a Canaanite woman. So then he realized how racist his parents were, so he married a cousin in addition to the wives he already had. It did seem like the entire family was really into incest, and they have been criticized for not stopping this behavior. Now, I wish I was joking, right? I really wish I was joking. So I'm going to share this because this is wild. So Esau, you've got to realize that Esau had already married Canaanite women, right? Like he'd already married sort of a couple of the locals. And I do mean a couple. He had 2 wives at that point. So yeah. He already had 2 wives. Whew. Because that's apparently a good biblical marriage is multiple wives, with some of them being in your family. Apparently that's a good biblical marriage. Apparently. So Esau learned that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him to Paddan Aram. I'm not sure where that is, and take a wife from there. When he blessed him, he commanded him, do not marry a Canaanite woman. So it wasn't just Rebecca. Like Isaac was hella racist as well. And that Jacob had obeyed his father and mother and had gone to Paddan Aram. Esau then realized how displeasing the Canaanite women were to his father Isaac. Okay, so he went to Ishmael and married Mahalath, sister of Nebaioth and daughter of Ishmael, son of Abraham. So from that, oh, hey, Bragman, so good to see you. from that, you can sort of say, well, Isaac is telling him, or Isaac is the brother of Ishmael, because the two sons of Abraham were Isaac and Ishmael. And as the story goes, or what is claimed by Muslims, that the line of David, or the Jewish line, the line of Jesus, came from Isaac, and the line of Muhammad came from Ishmael. Now, do we know for sure that Muhammad is a direct descendant of Ishmael? No. No, that's sort of just claimed, but that is the claim that they make, and it's why both Islam and um, um, Christianity are called Abrahamic faiths, because they both claim a lineage back to Abraham for their prophet, basically. Prophet or God or whatever. You know, they claim this connection to the Abrahamic line. So, um, so Abraham's son was Ishmael, and Abraham's grandson was Esau. So they're second cousins. Okay, so they're absolutely second cousins, and it's sort of really weird that then Jacob has to go away to find a wife in the lands of his ancestors, because obviously Esau didn't do that. She was there. I don't know, but you know, this family. So if you're unaware of it, Isaac had married Rebecca, which was his first cousin once removed. Right? Like, Isaac was related to his wife in a familial sense, in a family sense. She was part of his family, extended family. So that is incest. That is against the law at the moment. I'm not sure if Esau would be breaking the law. I think some states in the US, second cousins is okay. Southern states, maybe. I don't know. Is it illegal in the US to marry your second cousin? I think it's legal over here. I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. No, it's legal in all 50 states. Okay. Okay. That's interesting. So the US does is fine with second cousins. Okay. That's a bit weird. Yeah, and it's legal in it's yeah, it's legal in Australia as well. Wow. Wow. Okay, Australia, you can legally marry your first or second cousin. Look, I think that is there's that's a problem. Why do we allow this? Okay, Australia apparently more inbred. Wow. Okay, I did not know that. That's wild. Is that the same in the US? I thought it was illegal in the US to do that. It depends on the state. Approximately 25 states prohibit first cousin marriage, while about 18 states allow it. Okay. That's a recipe for disaster, quite frankly. That's a recipe for disaster. California, Alabama, of course, Alabama. Of course, Alabama. Why, I mean, of course, Alabama. Genetic disorders for children of first cousin is relatively modest. A 2 to 4% risk. Yeah, it's still an extra risk. I don't know. I just can't imagine that repeating it again and again and again is gonna work out well. You know, it's not gonna work out well. Yeah, yeah. I think that perhaps that should be a thing that shouldn't happen. Because if you're increasing the risk generation by generation, but like this situation, right? Because not only was Isaac first cousins with Rebecca, it also was that his father married his half sister, right? Like, so repeating this again and again, even if it's cousins, does it's a risk that you don't need to have. It's actually terrible. Um, like I wouldn't imagine that sort of once in 5 generations is a high risk. Um, but I think that repeating it generation after generation, you're going to get into trouble. You're going to get into trouble. The risk of genetic disease is going to become too high, even if it's just I don't know. I mean, I personally have my opinion on it. You may disagree. That's okay. We can disagree. It's okay. It's okay. But it just sort of shows that because every time it's God telling them to marry a family member. It's not like they're just going, finding them, finding love. It's more that God is organizing this. So I really think that God needs to crack a book on genetics at some point. Because seriously, the level of sort of inbreeding going on in this family is getting out of control. Out of control. And, Isaac and Rebecca are like genetic diversity from Canaanite and Hittite woman. No, that's terrible. That's terrible. We're not going to have genetic diversity in our family. Go and find somebody from your extended family. Which you'd think that God would step in to stop that stuff. You know, I mean, so it reminds me of a question that a horrible Orthodox guy has once asked me that was sort of like, what in your worldview should prevent sort of incest between two guys or something, right? Like, and that. Well, I would push it back on the Christian or the I guess a Jewish person would be in the same boat of what would prevent incest in your worldview, because obviously these are seen as the most blessed people in the line of Abraham. They're seen as the chosen people, and they're not only doing incest, but they're having multiple wives, some of which are related to them, which is wild. That's wild, right? Like, so if you read the Bible from cover to cover, what is it in the Bible that says don't marry your cousin or don't marry your brother? It doesn't. It honestly doesn't. The Bible condemn marrying your sibling? Uh, no, it does. Specifically Leviticus 18 and Leviticus 20. So that's weird. So Leviticus says that it's not allowed, but Abraham married his half sister. Okay. Okay, so weird. 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 Hey Bragwin, how you doing? I think I said hello to you. And Beta Ray, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat of assholery. One night he stopped. This continues onwards. So we've got the racism and incest out of the way. One night he stopped to sleep using a stone as a pillow. He couldn't find anything better. Like, Jacob set out and he couldn't find anything better than a stone. During that night, I appeared to him in a dream. Okay, so God's stepping in again, which means that So this suggests to me that he could have stopped this or corrected the situation any time. This is basically what he wanted, because if it wasn't going as he planned, he could have stepped in a dream, right? This is how Rebecca got information. This is how Isaac, I believe, got information. This is how King Abimelech got information from God. He appears to him in a dream. Now, to Abraham, he was appearing in person. He was appearing as a fire pot and a torch, I believe. So he's sort of going to dreams now. Okay. During the night appeared to him in a dream. He saw a stairway reaching up from earth to heaven with messages moving up and down it, like an escalator. An escalator? Is that what? Then I stood above it and spoke to him directly. I identified myself as the God of his father and grandfather, and I repeated the promise made to his father and grandfather. The land would belong to his descendants. They would be numerous, and that through them others would be blessed. Yeah, so he made this promise to Abraham. He made the promise again to Isaac, and now through a dream he's saying it again to Jacob. So this is sort of going exactly as God wants it to, because he basically wants to make this promise. I also told him I would be with him, that I would watch over him wherever he went, and that I would bring him back to the land. I made it clear that I would not leave him until I had done what is promised. So why not do that back when he's being threatened by Esau? Right? You could easily say, hey, Esau, cut it out. In a dream, even. Or you could do a dream to Isaac saying, hey, I will protect you. You don't have to run off. The criticism I'm getting is I should have settled things between the two brothers, and if I can protect Jacob, I should have done it back when his brother was seeking to kill him. Yes. Still, it did get Jacob to the right place to find a wife, even if he had to flee there. Was I wrong for letting Jacob flee, then promising the land to him? It sort of reeks of manipulation to me. It sort of reeks of this, well, I'm going to let this thing happen. And like I said, Rebecca was the one who God talked to and then instigated this entire situation. This entire thing was brought about by Rebecca saying, hey, you can steal your brother's blessing. But that appears to be what God wanted in the first place. And it's sort of manipulative. What I don't get is why an omnipotent, omniscient God just doesn't appear to everybody and go, look, this is how it's going to be. Jacob's going to be the one to get the blessing, and if you're my faithful servant, you will obey me, Isaac. And then basically telling and then saying, Esau, do not be mad with your brother. This is foreordained by your Lord the God. And then the entire thing's cleared up. Esau wouldn't blame Jacob. Isaac wouldn't be upset that he had been deceived by his son. Really, this is just screwing up an entire household because you're a bit shy. And I don't understand why you would do that. Just for the poll, was God right to promise land to Jacob and let him flee to, what was it? Paddan. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it. It's Paddan Aram. Paddan Aram is where the man goes. I have no idea where that is. I got to be honest with you. I have a funny feeling Dr. Kip would absolutely know where Paddan Aram is. So apparently that's where he's going. I kind of find this fascinating. I sort of wonder what set of circumstances sort of caused this to be written down like this, basically. I feel like something must have happened. But I don't think it's a God, because this, the God is kind of being a complete dick instead of just stating what he wants. I feel this is so manipulative, and it's gonna cause so many problems in the family. Like, why? I don't get it. Let's find out, where is Padam Aram? I'm probably mispronouncing that. Padam Aram. Okay. Oh, there's a picture. Okay. Open image. Okay. So there apparently is Paddan Aram. So it seems to be in the border between Turkey. That's Syria. Hang on, can I write on this? Yeah. So that is Turkey. Why can't I write on this? Hello? 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 I can't write on this thing. I really need a better marker thing. One second. I will. I'll get rid of that. Maybe I can zoom in on this. Can I write on this thing? I can. Okay. I don't know why that works, but yeah, so that's Paddan Aram. You got Turkey is sort of there. Syria is there. Iran is that area down sort of over there. I believe. So what's up there? Is that Armenia up there? Hang on a second. Let's get a map. Map. Syria, I guess. Google Maps. Maps? Yeah. Yeah, it is in Syria. Is there a better map thing to use? How do I change the map type? Map type. Map type. Okay, so yeah. Paddan. Let's zoom out. Okay, yeah. So it's basically into. Oh, Armenia's a bit further north. Yeah, I wasn't exactly right. So more Turkey. Turkey. Well, share this tab. So Turkey comes out to about there, and Syria's down here. Iran and Armenia's up a bit further. So yeah, it's basically in the south of Turkey. You know what? That is definitely the area in which the Kurds sort of live. Majority of the Kurds live, which is interesting. Maybe not that area. Maybe it's closer to Syria. That's interesting though, because the Kurds. If you don't know, the Kurds are the ones that sort of Trump wanted to help with Iraq. The Kurds sort of live around this area here, in between Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did mean Iraq, not Iran. If you do want to know where, in relation to the Strait of Hormuz is, the Strait of Hormuz is down here. That is the Strait of Hormuz. That is in between UAE and Iran here. So that area through here is the Strait of Hormuz. And so the Houthis sort of live in this area. They're a ally of Iran. And of course, Iran can sort of just attack from down there. It's pretty brutal, pretty brutal. So yeah, if you did need to know where that is, so that's sort of Middle East. But yeah, sorry, that was Iraq, not Iran. Iran's further over. So yeah, geography lesson. And so Syria's here, Lebanon's here. So the other thing that's happening is that Israel, which is around here, is pushing north into Lebanon. So they are pushing north up into here, and attacking Hezbollah, which Hezbollah were formed by Lebanon to defend Lebanon against Israel. So that's the other thing that's happening. At the same time, Gaza's here. So they're kind of horribly taking on Gaza and pushing north into Lebanon. That's the West Bank, which they're also, settlers are moving in there as well, which is absolutely horrible. Not that close to Iraq. Like, you've got Jordan, then Iraq, and then Iran. But yeah, it's a mess. It is a mess. Absolute mess. So that's your geography lesson for today. So all of this is happening, or at least the character of Jacob is traveling to about this area in what is modern day Turkey, on sort of the border of Turkey and Syria. So that's where all this is happening. Middle East is a complex place, always has been. Anybody that thinks that sort of that they call the sort of Euphrates the cradle of civilization, and the Euphrates sort of runs, I believe this is this the Euphrates? Is this the Euphrates? Is this the Euphrates? Euphrates River? No, that's Tigris. The other one's the Euphrates. So between the Euphrates and the Tigris, I believe. Euphrates River in Iraq. Yeah, so that's the Euphrates. So around here is called the cradle of civilization kind of thing, where ancient civilization started, Mesopotamia kind of thing. I don't know the truth of that. That's just what they call it. Hey, Randy, good to see you, man. So yeah, all of this is happening in this area, but you know, apparently, according to this book, Abraham's people, so the sort of the descendants of Adam and Eve, came from Lower Turkey, not from Israel, kind of thing. And apparently Isaac's son and grandniece did not like the Hittite woman, the Hittites being an empire in that area. Really fascinating stuff, actually. I'm not an expert, but I at least do know the area. Look, I would not consider myself any kind of expert on the Middle East, either modern or ancient, but, you know, at least I do know the geography of it. That is something that I am aware of. Yeah, so God's made this promise again that the descendants of Jacob would be blessed. He's not doing, do notice, he's not doing that for Esau, right? Esau's kind of getting the shaft, as it were. I also told him that I would be with him. Oh, he'd watch over, yes. I should have done it back when his brother was seeking to kill him. Yeah, so I think that if I was a god, and obviously I am, I would basically command them to go to this place. You know, you could even command Esau to protect his brother. I mean, why couldn't you do that? Why couldn't you do that? Instead, this god is manipulating Rebecca, who then manipulates Jacob, because she's the one that really pushes him to steal his father's blessing away from his brother. Then he manipulates Jacob into finding a wife in the lands of his ancestors. It seems to be very, and you could argue, hey, God works in mysterious ways. I get it. But it seems like this is all for a God that can just appear in dreams and command stuff directly, or tell people what he wants. It seems a real roundabout way to do it. He could have just appeared to Isaac, Abraham's son, who was his faithful servant, and say, hey, give your blessing unto Jacob, then send him to this place to find a wife. And that's all he needed to do. And then when Esau got mad, Isaac would just say, hey, the Lord commanded me to do it, and so take it up with your God, basically. Like that would be problem solved. And you wouldn't have this fear of one brother killing the other. Maybe that's what happened with Cain and Abel. Maybe God manipulated stuff, and they one killed another. Why did Cain kill Abel? Wasn't it because one was more loved by Adam and Eve? Why did kill? Hang on a second. Hang on, I got to find this out. Where are we? Genesis. I believe it's in Genesis. Was it Genesis 4? Maybe. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So, Cain brought the fruits of the soil as an offering. Abel also brought an offering. Oh, yes. Like Abel had all the meat. Abel had the meat. He was the meat lord. So the Lord looked at favor on Abel, but on Cain he did not look with favor. So it is kind of, God knew that not looking on with favor on Cain is going to result in him killing Abel. Totally understand. Yes, yeah. Oh, okay, Doc. Hey, Doc, how you doing? I should go through the comments, but yeah, this seems to be time and time again. We kind of see God do what I would call manipulative stuff, and if you didn't know the future, if you didn't know the results of that, it would be fine. Like, God completely blameless in this, but you do know what this is going to cause, right? So, the fact that you're allowing it to happen means that you're okay with it. Because if you had a problem with it, yeah, no, this is exactly the same story, just a little bit different. There's the jealousy of one getting a blessing and the other one not, which is sort of, it's sort of what you've got to understand as a parent, that, I think that parents sort of go, well, you're different, but we love you equally, kind of. Or at least that's what my parents did. They sort of said to us as children, look, you're really different from your brother, but we love you both, kind of thing. Now, I think from my family, I think from just being a grown-ass adult and understanding that a parent usually has a favorite. I was probably the favorite of my mother, and my brother got along with my father better than I did. So I think the same dynamic is there. But, I certainly wouldn't try to kill my brother over, a stupid thing like, oh, my father blessed him and not me. But a God would know that. So I see there's so much that a God could have done to step in and stop this, or just do things differently to stop it. And didn't do so, which means that it is something that he allowed to happen, and therefore he approved it of happening. But let's go to the comments and let's see what you got. Show me what you got. God is always the arsehole. You know what? I have yet to find one where he's not. I mean, some cases, Everybody sucks, in my opinion. Like this last one, I think everyone sucks. I think Jacob sucks, Esau sucks, Rebecca sucks, Isaac sucks, and God sucks. Like everybody's sort of in it all together. They all suck. But you know, I've yet to find one where I'm like, yep, God totally blameless in all of this. Totally blameless. Incest is wincest, absolutely. Absolutely. A wincest winning for genetic disorders. Family tree like the root ball of a pot-bound plant. Okay, that's very specific, Jinx. I think I use the analogy of like family tree like a mangrove or something. You know, they're all intertwined. But that is some imagery right there. Yes, yes. Not in the US. Right. Florida tried to pass a law to make marrying your first cousin illegal, and not surprisingly, it didn't pass. Yeah, well, apparently that's in a few states, and not just red states, according to what I read. One second, sorry. Oh, I hate it when I don't follow through on a sneeze. That sucks. Now I'm going to be pent up all day. Look, I got to sneeze it out occasionally. I'm going to have to, times like this, I wish I had some snuff, some sniffing tobacco. No, I don't. I'm joking. I've never done that, and that's never appealed to me. Southern US never beating the alligators. Not surprisingly, yeah, but it also was California and New York, so it's not just the southern states, it's also some of the northern. And I can't comment. Apparently in Australia, we just allow it willy-nilly. Strange. The southern US is never beating the allegations. Yeah, no, and you're not alone. Apparently Islam outlaws it completely, so yeah, maybe they've had problems. Yeah, it depends on the state, and 38 states still allow child marriage. Yeah, and that one's a problem. I saw that there was a video of somebody, a commentator that I saw, that it was saying, oh, the birth rate for 15 to 18-year-olds is dropping and we need to raise it. And it's like, excuse me? Excuse me? No. Like, that was horrible. But yeah, there's states with no minimum age of marriage. It's crazy. I'll compare to the Australia age of marriage. I believe we have a minimum age of 18 unless your parents consent, and then you can be married earlier. Yeah, so minimum age is 18, but you can get married at 16 to 17 with court approval, right? And the rules here about age of consent and stuff is very sort of strange, because it's like it's sort of the age of consent is 16, but you have to be up to, I think, 20 or something for that to apply, or else it's very strange. It's very complex, the age of consent. Look, I just go with and I always have, since this thing was said in high school, like half your age plus 7 years is really what I've as a rule of thumb that I've gone by. So at 49 at the moment, half my age is 24 and a half, plus 7 years, which is about 30, 31 and a half. So I think that would be my minimum age kind of thing, which I think is a good rule of thumb. Of course, it's not exactly, what you should do, but it's a good rule of thumb. I probably wouldn't date anybody under that even if I was unmarried and single. I wouldn't. It just, like, I mean, it's contentious. You may not like it, but I'm not a big fan of kids. I'm just not. And that's okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I respect them. I'm going to hang out with them. It's fine. It's just not, I find it tiresome. The US is bound and determined to have a slow motion Habsburg. Yeah. So Bragman's talking about the Habsburgs in and around the aristocracy of Europe, which they sort of thought to strengthen their bloodline by marrying into the family, and they thought that would strengthen the bloodline and make the blood purer. And there's something called the Habsburg jaw, which is this sort of horribly mutated genetic disease. I believe it's related to cherubism, which is sort of having a very rounded face, and it's related to that. But it's this genetic condition where your jaw like prominently juts out. Not the right kind of looks maxing, I'll tell you, but it is, it's also associated with a lot of other genetic disorders like hemophilia, like your blood doesn't clot. It's got all kinds of problems. But yes. Mark has a Discord. I do have a Discord. I'm probably not on there as much as I should be, but I definitely drop in and talk with people and have a chat and, just generally set stuff up. It's been around for a long time. It used to be my gaming Discord for my close friends. So a lot of it is sort of gaming, but a lot of it is just hang out and post pictures of your cats and your meals. Because I do like the food porn. I know Bregman goes on there and puts down some yummy stuff. Like I think last one was stuffed peppers. It was really, really good looking. Really good looking. But yeah, it's just a nice place to hang out and have a chat. One generation of first cousins doesn't really do much. Yeah, agreed. It's the repeated generations that are a problem. Yeah, agreed, Lil. But, what we're seeing from the Abrahamic line, that it is repeated generations of cousins. It's sort of like, yeah, it could be fine, but when the line starts with a brother and sister and then, cousin after cousin, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, but if it is, it's a big problem. But we don't blame people back in the day. Like, we don't blame the Habsburgs kind of thing for thinking that they can purify their bloodline. They didn't have the same amount of information that we did. And this is called presentism. Presentism in history is when you apply motivations, morals, and sensibilities to a group in the past, right? You say, hey, they were horrible because they did slavery, or they were horrible because they, thought that marrying into their family would purify their bloodline. We can't really apply what we know today in order to evaluate them. The difference between that and evaluating just say a god, like the Yahweh figure, right? The difference there is that God, as he's presented to the atheist, should have known the problems with that behavior. A God should have known that slavery is absolutely horrible, not only to the enslaved, but also the master and society in general, right? So that idea of presentism isn't being applied to the people, it's being applied to the God. And that's an important distinction, because the people would have no way to know that slavery not only is dehumanization, causes all kinds of problems, because it basically eliminates the lower class, which then eliminates the middle class, which then causes just a repressive society with, slave rebellions and decadence by a elite few, with everybody else being living in abject poverty. So it's bad for the civilization as well. A God would know that. And if the God doesn't pass that along, hey, this will cause massive problems within your society, what kind of a God is it? But yeah, a God should have known that, hey, if you start out with a half brother and sister and then start marrying into your cousins, if there's a problem, you're going to get some horrible results. And back in these days, they didn't go, oh, well, that child seems to have a deformity of some sort, let's make their life better and allow them to live a life that contributes to society, and they flourish and at least have some semblance of humanity to allow that person. They just went, oh, that child's cursed by God, get rid of it. That was the attitude at the time. And again, I don't judge the people for not knowing what is happening, but I do judge the God, because the God is supposed to know. Bragwin says, that's fine. He can have two cousins bone in front of two crossed sticks. An instant genetic diversity. Yeah, we're coming up to that part. That probably will be a next episode, I think. How they viewed genetics and how it works. Because, they really had no idea how genetics worked at all. Like, their idea of how to get a certain trait passed along in a genetic line is hilarious. And you've touched on it right there, Bragman. Ooh, yep, absolutely. Abraham and Sarah, half brother and sister, yes, of the same parent, were married, constantly lied about it, and blessed personally no less than 3 times by God for this union. Correct. Yes. And not only that, but Isaac pulled the old sister wife scam as well. I mean, he was married to his cousin, but he sort of said, oh, that's not my wife, that's my sister. The old sister wife scam. Until I started doing this series, I didn't know about that. It's one of the things that they don't tell you in the Bible, that Abraham went around calling his wife his sister, and when the king or the pharaoh took them into his household, he then was forced to pay because he'd slept with his sister, or he'd had a problem with his sister. And Isaac did it as well. His son did it as well. Apple has removed the names of towns in southern Lebanon to legitimize. That's horrible. That's absolutely awful. They're in Iraq. Yes. And but that is called the cradle of civilization. Now, did it start there? I don't know. I don't know how accurate it is. That's just a name that is used sort of as a colloquialism to say, hey, that's where civilization. I don't know for sure, but that definitely is Mesopotamia. Randy. Dr. Dino says, I hope you're having fun. I'm be streaming a Dymo game here soon if you want to tag along. I tell you what, I will redirect to you, Dr. Dino. I will redirect to you. Thank you. I do like dinos and I do like games, so yes. That sounds awesome. I have played a dino game with Dr. Dino. It was Ark, and that was a lot of fun. Jealousy, Abel had better sacrifices. You are correct, Jinx. Yep. Abel's offerings, Bragman. Yep, absolutely. And if death was not something either Cain or Abel was familiar with, bashing each other over the head with rocks is kind of something brothers do. But so the question is, did God know that would happen? And did he know that sort of showering praise on Abel and sort of not on Cain would lead to that eventuality? I think he would have known, because if God is omniscient, he knows the outcome of all possible worlds. So he doesn't just know what will happen, he will know what will happen if a different action is taken. Now, there's some philosophical problems with that. How do you take a different action if he knows what will happen? But the whole idea of omniscience is he knows the outcome of any choice that is made, right? Like any kind of branching possibility, he knows what the outcome will be. So he will know how to stop that from happening. And if he can't stop it from happening, then what kind of an omnipotent God is he? Or a maximally powerful God, depending on what you're sort of saying. Extreme sibling rivalry, yeah. And there's a lot of this through the Bible. I mean, for sibling rivalry, we might make a couple of cutting comments, around the Thanksgiving table or the Christmas table kind of thing. You might question your brother's personal grooming choices or something. I don't know. But, in these days, it seems like bashing your brother's head in with a rock was the way to go. Nasal edging. I don't enjoy it, Bragwin. I don't enjoy it. I'm not into it. Like, seriously, nasal edging is not good. Not good. Back in the 90s and early thousands, teen pregnancy was seen as a moral scourge in the US. Yes, part of me is suspicious, very suspicious. I think that this sort of this fundamentalist Christian, especially, sort of move to go, hey, we need more children at 15 to 18, is a response to the decline in Christianity and the deconversion of a lot of people out of it. I think that they have responded to it by, well, number one, trying to get somebody into power who is very amenable to what they want, right? So very, very supportive of their particular religions. That's been number one. And I think number two is that they want to get more children who are Christian. Now, it doesn't work. And the reason why it doesn't work, and we've had this discussion with many and many Christian who sort of say, oh, well, atheists are producing less children and Christians are producing a lot. So, you know, if you follow that trend, we're eventually going to take over the entire thing. There'll be no atheists left. There's a problem with that because we don't have to birth a atheist in order to make an atheist, right? That isn't how most atheists come about. Most of them deconvert. Right, so sort of this is the misunderstanding. Like, so but I think that the reason why they are opening it up to, hey, we want more pregnancies and children, you know, 15 to 18, is because the younger a child is, the more susceptible they are to indoctrination. I think that they are now on a sort of a trend where they're going, well, if we can indoctrinate them really, really, really young, it'll be better, you know. So indoctrinate the child, then before she can deconvert in her 20s or whatever, have her indoctrinate someone else, right? So but I think that it's a pie in the sky wishful thinking, you know. It's sort of a really, really stupid thing, but they want to, I think they want to get, you know, their daughters out of university, have them at home where they can't learn any critical thinking, you know, and they're doing everything possible to stop the stem of people leaving Christianity by almost any means possible. And this is a dumb idea. I don't think it's going to stop that. I think as soon as the advent of the internet, where we could talk about what we believe and why, I think that it won't work. But I think they're willing to do whatever. Either that, or they're just a bunch of you know, really sick people who think the younger the better, which is horrible, absolutely horrible. You know, absolutely disgusting. And it doesn't surprise me, considering who is in the White House and their ties to a certain offender whose files should have been released ages ago. Ages ago. Beta Ray says Massachusetts, 14 years old. New Hampshire, 14. Old Hawaii, 15. Is that the age of consent or is that the age of marriage? Because I think they split it up, right? Yeah, between 16 and 18. But I think you can get married at 14 and then the age of consent is 16. But, you know, I don't know. I don't think that someone's going to get married, right? And that's just, that's really sick, because a 14, like, what kind of 14-year-old is ready to get married? And then you've got to wait 2 years, even if the age of consent is 16, which honestly I think is low. I think that's too low. That's way too low. I think that the reason why they may make it at 16 is because, look, kids are going to engage in that stuff, and we don't want to just send them to jail because two 17-year-olds decided that they wanted to try doing stuff, kind of thing. I think that's why. But like anything above 18 with somebody that's 16, no. No. If a court authorizes it, some states there is no age restriction of marriage. Whoa, that is frightening. That's actually frightening. I mean, and this is the thing, these modern countries like us, arranged marriage is so horrible. What's the difference? I worked with a woman who got married at 12 to escape an abusive household and had her 2 kids by 16-year-old and then became a grandmother at 38. Dang. Look, 16, you are in no way prepared to raise a child. No. Beta Race says over half the US states allow marriage between the ages of 16 to 18 with parental consent alone. 15 states allow marriage even younger, depending on judicial approval or if one party is pregnant. Or... I don't see the rest of that, Beta Ray, but that's okay. Look, I think that it's very strange, their ideas on marriage, because they're sort of like, well, a marriage between two of the same sex, perfectly adult, perfectly consenting, they're willing to do it. That's not approved, but a marriage that is, a shotgun wedding in Las Vegas, just something that gets annulled, that's perfectly fine. Or a old guy marrying a young, that's fine. Yeah, no worries. One party is pregnant. Yeah. Oh yeah, I didn't see it today. I saw it yesterday. Today it's chicken strip salad. Wow, you have some really good stuff up there, Bragman. I really good stuff. So yeah, that's on the Discord, link in below. Feel free to join. You can hassle me all you want, not a problem. God should go to hell. If God is omnipresent, right? If God is omnipresent, isn't he already in hell, technically, right? Because an omnipresent being is everywhere, at all times, kind of thing. Like he is everywhere. And if God is omnipresent, he would necessarily have to already be in hell and heaven and everywhere else, everywhere. So yeah. Marriage. The Big Nick says, Mark never got any action in high school, so neither should you. You know what? That's not entirely true. I do admit to being a complete geek in high school. Very awkward. Totally understand, yeah. But I did kiss a girl in a play, and I did have a couple of situations where she invited me to her house to have a swim, and if I was aware of, I think she really liked me and I was completely oblivious, So yes, I did get action. I just was completely ignorant that it was action. Ran out of space. Big Nick says God does not abide where there is sin. So no, God is not in hell. Then he's not omnipresent. He can't be omnipresent and not where sin is. But that means that, so that doesn't make sense to me, because if God can't abide where there is sin and everyone is a sinner, then God can't abide where people are because everyone's a sinner. That doesn't make any sense. That makes zero sense, Nick. I'm sorry. Because, like, if God doesn't abide where there's sin, well, if there's sin in the world, if there's sin in a city, then he can't abide in that city. It means that God's just in heaven and nowhere else. So, yeah, that's going to be a problem. And then God isn't omnipresent, and that's fine. As long as your God isn't omnipresent, that's fine. You cook on a very tight budget. I do what I can with what little I have. I cook on a budget as well. I do. Spaghetti's basically my go-to. You know, I flesh it out with a lot of vegetables and stuff. I do like spaghetti with, I think you call it bell pepper, a lot of onion, a lot of mushroom, stuff like that. But yeah, that's my go-to. Hell is the absence of God. Okay. Oh, that's fine. It's just that a God, like I was just saying, if God is omnipresent, he would have to be in hell. If he's not omnipresent, then that's fine. That's fine. Depends if you subscribe to that particular doctrine or not. That's the thing. Here's a question. Can God go to hell? If God wanted, could he go to hell? Or is he restricted from going to hell? Because if he can't go to hell, then you've got problems with his omnipotence. Then he's not all-powerful. And I might add, there's humans doing stuff that he can't do, which is a bit weird for a god. So the question should then be, can God actually enter hell if he wanted to? Like, I get you. He wouldn't want to, can't stand sin, gotcha. Makes him a bit tipsy, makes him throw up a bit, gotcha. But could he do it if he wanted to? That's the question. So that is all of the chat. Bragwin, I love your food porn. I really do. It's really good. It makes me hungry, which I think is the idea of food porn. I think that's the idea sometimes. Have you ever like cooked something really delicious and if you cook something really delicious and the neighbors are going to smell it and get hungry, and it's like, yeah. Hey, Purple, I was just about to wrap up. It wouldn't be hell if God went there, but he could, right? Like he could if he wanted to. Yes. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Hey, Purple, so good to see you. God cannot build anything a man can build, such as a temple, a box, or a boat. Yeah, well, yeah, because he constantly has to get men to build it. He has to constantly ask other people to build it for him. It's kind of weird, but apparently God can't handle iron chariots either. So there's that. Beta Ray says hell literally does not exist in the Bible. It is either the grave or the absence of God. There is no literal heaven one goes to either. It is just everlasting life. Yeah. So the theology of sort of heaven and hell and the soteriology of what you have to do to get there is really inferred from a lot of different things in the Bible. It's not clearly spelt out. How do you know that, Nick? How do you know that, mate? How do you know it's everlasting? Have you waited forever to see if it's everlasting? Or is it just you're told it's everlasting and you just believe it? Let's see how the poll went. Poll is 80%. God is the arsehole. Yeah, I kind of agree with that one here. He didn't have to, put Jacob in fear of his life. He didn't have to set this entire thing up, and he didn't have to make him flee to another land. He didn't have to do any of that stuff, and that's what he chose to do. Okay. Yeah, it may be the best way to do what you want, but it's a bit of a dick move, quite frankly. Yes, correct, Purple. Dante's Inferno. Yes. Yep. Time slows down the further you go into hell. Okay, I dare you to find in the Bible where it says that, my friend. I don't think it does. I think that you're just making that up, to be honest with you. But we've come to the end of Genesis 28. And next week, we're going to be getting into Genesis 29. We are going to be getting into some goat genetics or sheep genetics. I can't remember which one it is. Is it goats or sheep? It's one of the two. It's definitely one of the two. But some genetic experimentation on livestock. It is hilarious, so I hope you can join me for that. Tomorrow I do have the member stream. I will post it up as soon as possible. If you are a member and memberships are available, become a member and get awesome emojis and things, and also member streams that you can come to and join. But for the moment, I do wish you a fine farewell. Take care of yourself. Don't forget, be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Don't automatically go out and try and find a partner on people in your extended family. Do be kind to yourself and meet some different people. Meet some different cultures. I find it all very rich and fulfilling to find other people's cultures and how they think differently is amazing. Be kind to each other. Don't think because someone's from a certain culture that they have to be a certain way. Because Esau was marrying Hittite women until he found out his parents disagreed with it. Look, I got nothing against Hittites. I really don't. I really don't. But do take care. Oh, I'll end the thing. What's it? Yeah, there we go. Do take care. I will be back again tomorrow for the members, but after that, it's Thursday night Eastern time for Fundamentalist Fails. So do take care. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
To what new horizons can we look now? Where are tomorrow's opportunities? The frontiers of the future are not on any map. But now, what's ahead of us?